I got my package in the other day. So it comes in one box, and it says thank you for your order, and it tells you what your order is. And then this year it came with WYEAST or WYEAST or whatever, however you want to pronounce it. And it comes inside this to keep it cool. I already opened it and put it in the fridge until I was ready to brew. And this is our brew ingredients. This is an extract kit. My kettle's big enough, so I'm doing a 5-gallon boil instead of a 2.5, just to get things done a little faster. So let's see what's in here. So it's from Northern Brewer, and it's a Mutts Nuts Brown Porter. The OG is going to be 1.043. We want to kind of try to hit that. Ready in 6 weeks. So let's open the box, see what we have. So we have UK Kent Goldings premium hops, Fuggle hops, and then we have our malt extract, and then our Mutts Nuts Porter grain blend here. And this is going to be some of the stuff that we mash in first. And of course I asked for priming sugar so that we can bottle this when it's ready to bottle. So let's go ahead and get these out. We don't need them inside, so we'll set that there. And then you have your Mutts Nuts brown porter. It gives you the procedure, your kit inventory. So you want to double check this and make sure that everything you ordered, or well, anything that's supposed to be in the kit is on this list. Make sure everything is in your box. And then we'll go get my kettle, which I already put fresh, clean drinking water in, and we'll get it on the boil and get started. Turn our propane cylinder on, make sure we're maxed out here, and then we'll get it started. Alright, now that we have our fire going on our kettle, I will show you how I have my kettle marked out. It's just a cheap kettle. I did this on a budget last year, so it's basically a turkey fryer. So here's my kettle, and I have it marked out here, 2.5 gallons, and then a 6-gallon, which is where I pulled the water to, because we're going to lose some to evaporation with it boiling. And already the temperature is going up, so we like that. That's good. Let's look at our ingredients and our instructions and pull it up to the temperature they want us to bring it to. Okay, so our temperature is right about 160, but there's one thing I have to do before we steep our grains. That is mix our sanitizer. I'm using the Star San. It's sanitizer, because that's one thing that you have to get right in homebrew is sanitization. Otherwise you'll wind up with off flavors and possibly a bad batch that you might have to dump. So let's go ahead. I already have 5 gallons of water, and I just left that in there because it gives it a nice spot so it doesn't get dirty. And then yeah, so I'm gonna mix the sanitizer, and you're gonna take your Star San, kind of crack this open a little bit. You're going to squeeze it up until it's at 1 ounce, because 1 ounce per 5 gallons. Right about there is 1 ounce. You take it, pull your cap off, and you just dump that in there. There we go. Now I want to show you how this looks before I stir it. So come over here to my other bucket. This is the one I'm going to pitch my wort into and aerate it before I pitch the yeast. So we're going to grab our stirring spoon, set it inside the sanitizing solution, kind of get that stirred around in there real good. Like that. And this is going to be kind of has a weird feeling on your hands, but it's alright. So there's that. Let's go ahead and grab our brewing stuff that we're going to be using and go ahead and dip it in the sanitizer, including our muslin bags. Alright, now that our water's to temperature, our muslin bags are sanitized, it is time to get the grains in this muslin bag here, shut the heat off to our kettle so that we can steep our grains for 20 minutes as per the directions. Okay, so now that we have our grains in our steeping bags, or our muslin bags, we're going to go ahead and just set them inside this water. Let them get in there. Here, and set our timer for 20 minutes. What are you doing? Okay, our timer is about to go off. Let's go over here and move. We'll come over here and move our grains out of this thing. I'm just going to set them in the box that everything came in, the shipping box, because I'm going to throw that away as well. Here's one bag. We're just going to kind of let it drain a little bit. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. But we don't want to squeeze. We just kind of want to drain, probably to a drip. That should be good. Then we'll take it, just put it in the box. And now let's grab this one. Alright, now that we found our spot where we tied the muslin bag, we'll pull this one out. Drain some of the liquids back into the kettle, just a little bit. Again, we don't want to squeeze the muslin bag with the grains. And then we'll discard right there. And that is how dark it is. There we go. And then so this here was 6 gallons, and we already lost about an inch worth. Okay, the flame is back on. We're bringing our liquid all the way back up to a boil. Here's how it looks so far. And then once it comes to a boil, I will shut the flame off and we will add in our malt extract. Okay, so the kettle's been on the flame for a few minutes. Let's go over here and check the temperature. We should almost be about a boil, and then we need to shut the flame off and then add in our malt extract. Okay? So I have this thermometer here, but I also have a digital one which is a little more accurate. Okay, we are now boiling. Let's shut this heat off on the kettle. I'm going to shut it off here and at the propane tank itself. And the reason you want to shut your heat off is because you'll burn the malt extract, because it's going to go in, it's going to touch the bottom, and with the flame roaring, it'll burn and you'll get some weird flavors and possibly some sticking from the malt extract at the bottom. Okay, so my finger is a little bit sticky from this malt extract, which, I mean, it's fermentable, it has sugars in it. So I have the lid off. Let's go ahead and get this going into our kettle. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just kind of stirring it and make sure it's all mixed in really well. I'm going to start the flame again and bring this back to a boil, and then we're going to add our hops and boil it for 60 minutes. Let it come to a boil, and then we're going to add our hops. The hops we're going to be adding are UK Kent Goldings and UK Fuggle, or Fuggle, however you pronounce that. We're only adding ½ an ounce of each, because this isn't going to be a hop forward. This is going to be more of a malt forward beer. It's a porter. And so we're going to go ahead and take these and stick these ½ ounce of each one of these hops into my little hop screen. These are the hops we're using. We're using pellet hops. Now that we have the hops added, I'm going to go ahead and set the timer for 60 minutes. And then we have to watch our timer right about 10 minutes before the end of the boil. We want to add the rest of our hops. Okay, so there's 10 minutes left in the boil. I'm going to pull my little hop basket out and add the rest of the hops. Then we'll put that back inside the wort and let that sit for another 10 minutes. Until the timer goes off. Okay, so I didn't have enough room in my hop basket for the rest of the hop addition, but luckily I had a muslin bag left, a spare muslin bag, so I rinsed that in the sanitizer and I put the hops in it and we're good to go. We have about 7 minutes left in the boil before I have to chill it. Okay, so the timer just went off, which means the boil is over. Now I have to shut the flame off, pull our hops, and then add the wort chiller, which is a pipe that hooks to a water hose, and it cools the pipe off and it chills the wort down, and we want to get it to about 78 degrees. Okay, now that we have our wort chiller in, we want to turn the water hose on. Now with the water on, you will start to notice the temperature of the wort drop. So be careful. It's been about a minute. We're down to 143 and the temperature is dropping perfectly. Okay, now we're inside. We have our fermenting bucket set up, ready for us to pour our wort into it. This is our yeast. This is what it looks like after we pop the little bag, and it's been sitting in here for about 4 hours now. And it is ready to pitch once we get our wort into our fermenting bucket. I gotta find the little bubble. Scoot it up to the top there. I think that's it. That did it. You just kind of aerate a little bit, shake it around. Yep, mix the nutrients real good. Then you let it sit for 3 or more hours, and the pack will expand, the back will bulge. There we go. We're going to agitate it, tear it open after we sanitize it. So we'll sanitize it, shake it a little bit, tear it open, and dump it into our wort. And I'm pouring it vigorously to really aerate the wort, because the yeast like oxygen to start. There we are. Now, to pitch the yeast. Okay, we're going to take our WYEAST smack pack. It's been swirled around and sanitized. We're just going to tear it open. At least that's what they say. Yeah, there we go. And then dump it in there. There we go. And the yeast should flocculate and go to town shortly. So now we'll grab our lid to our bucket and clamp it on here. Like that. And then we'll get our little rubber stopper and our airlock with some sanitizing solution in it, and put it on there, and then we just leave it alone for 3 weeks on this one. And it wound up right about 1.45, which is right about where we were aiming for. So it's actually perfectly with the recipe.